Should you come to Hawaii during the coronavirus outbreak? Well, it's tempting. It's tempting. The beaches are closed. There's nobody on the beach. You will have that beach to yourself. There are no crowds anywhere. There's no traffic. I mean, man, you could be rush hour and you're just like zooming through everything. No traffic. And you pretty much got the whole island to yourself. On one hand, you might say, hey, this is the time to go, right? Absolutely not. Do not come here. Aloha, I'm Peter Kay, and I connect with people that want to live in Hawaii. So if that's you, this is your channel. You want to click on the subscribe button and get the notifications. I come out with videos probably every other Tuesday. So I've got 4 reasons why you do not want to come to Hawaii. Reason number 1, you can't enjoy it anyway. Right now, I'm making this video on April 25th, 2020. There is a 14-day quarantine. That means as soon as you land into the airport, you're going to essentially get locked up in your hotel room for 14 days. And they just recently started something new. Man, it's pretty hardcore. You're going to get an ankle lock. This is what I heard on the news. You're going to get an ankle lock, like the ones that they give like prisoners who, don't have to go to jail per se, but they're locked up in their homes. Well, you're going to get one of those. They ask you for your mobile phone number, and at the airport, they call you on your mobile phone just to make sure it's working. Then they ask you to show proof of reservation at a hotel, and they won't release you from the airport unless you can show you've made a reservation at the hotel. And after that's done, then they verify with the hotel that you're staying locked up in your room for 14 days. And the hotels have been directed to let the authorities know if you break quarantine. So hotels are like, the whole state's in lockdown. So why on earth? Could you imagine? I mean, there was a story too the other day about someone who arrived in the airport. No one told them about the 14-day quarantine. At least that's what they said. No one told them about the 14-day quarantine. And guess what? They got on the next plane and went back. Why would you want to come to Hawaii if you're going to get holed up in a hotel room in quarantine for 14 days? Useless. So you can't make use of it. So the beaches are closed. The water is available. You can go in the water. You can go swimming. You can go surfing, water sports. You cannot hang out on the beach. So, putting out your beach towel and kicking back, cannot do that. The beaches are technically closed. You can use them to walk, ingress and egress to the water, but you cannot hang out at the beach. If you can't hang out at the beach, what are you going to Hawaii for? Restaurants are closed. You could only do carry out. And that assumes you can even go there. If you're at a hotel, I don't know, I don't even know how they're doing it. Room service? But you can't go out of your room. So, and even if you could, you can't go at a restaurant and sit down. You got to do carry out back to your hotel room, assuming you could even leave your hotel room, which I don't think you can. So what's the point? You're going to get holed up for 14 days. Okay, so now you can't use it. Hawaii, it's here for the people that live here, but that's it. Number 2, deep cultural resentment. Culturally speaking, I got no other way to put this. Visitors are not welcome. They're not welcome. Because, again, Hawaii follows the rules. I said this in my other video about what it's like. And Hawaii follows the rules. And the rule right now is don't come to Hawaii. The rule right now is there's a 14-day quarantine. So if you come here as a visitor, you're breaking the rules. And that's like a big no-no. There's been a couple of people on social media that have been flaunting it. Guess what? They locked them up, put them in jail, sent them back. And everyone's like, yeah, put them back, send them back. So, we're kind of protective of our place in the first place. I mean, I've gotten into trouble with my YouTube video because people are saying, oh, why are you telling people to come to Hawaii for? And I got other reasons for that. Frankly, I'd rather tell people the right way to come to Hawaii. I'd rather help people who shouldn't come to Hawaii not come to Hawaii. But that's beside the point. We feel like we got this thing pretty much under control. this coronavirus. There's only 500, I think 600 cases are out right now. There's been 14 deaths. So it's, you know, we kind of got this thing licked. And we also know that a big source of the infection was visitors. So if you come here as a visitor, man, it's like, you know, you're putting us at risk. You might be bringing your disease back over here, creating another outbreak. We told you not to come here. It's against the law per se, and you're going to do it anyway. Deep cultural resentment. Visitors are not welcome. If people know that, for example, if someone finds out that you're here and you're a visitor and you're breaking the rules, there's a good chance that you're going to get reported anyway. So there's cultural resentment against you doing that right now. Don't do it. You know, there's a huge local phobia that opening up the visitor industry is going to bring a flood of infections into the island. And of course, nobody wants that. And that's another reason why there's a lot of resentment. You know, and I think it's kind of like what it does is it sort of amplifies the normal resistance that people have to visitors anyway, right? I mean, don't people kind of diss tourists all the time? I don't know if you live in a place that has tourists or visitors, but if you've ever gone to kind of any other place, you know, tourists aren't like terribly liked, right? Why? Oh, because they naturally kind of, either they don't know the social norms, they don't know the cultural norms, they flaunt the cultural rules, you know, they drive like they don't know what they're doing, and so they're irritating from that. You know, visitors naturally do irritating things, right? So this is like times 1,000, right? Not only are you like the visitor that we kind of don't like because we make fun of you and stuff because you do like silly things and you act like a fool, but now you're bringing a communicable disease. You know, you're going to infect the islands. Not a good idea. Number 3, historical significance of diseases in Hawaii. Okay, now this one, here's a little bit of some info for you. You probably don't know about this, but in the 1850s, a huge part of the local native Hawaiian population was wiped out due to a smallpox breakout. There was an American merchant ship, the Charles Murray, and it sailed from San Francisco to Honolulu. It docked offshore and it had a yellow flag showing serious infection aboard. This was on February 10th of 1853. In May of 1853, smallpox broke out in Hawaii. We believe it was because of that ship. Now, by the time I'm going to zoom forward, there's a lot of details here. I don't want to go into a major history lesson. I have a link in the description where you can read about it more. But from by the time this thing ended in January of 1854, so that's less than a year, there were nearly 10,000 cases of smallpox and 6,000 deaths. Now, this was, you know, remember, the population back then was perhaps 100,000 people on this island. Now we have 1 million people. And if we had 6,000 deaths today from coronavirus, it would be the most unbelievable, terrible thing it could possibly be. And that's with a population of 1 million people. If we were to put this in perspective proportionally, say we have 1 million people here, that's 10 times. So that means if it would be the equivalent of having 60,000 deaths today. So it was a wipeout. And the majority of those deaths were to native Hawaiians because they hadn't developed a resistance to smallpox. So it was absolutely devastating. I got to tell you, to this day, there are some really, really sore feelings about the smallpox outbreak that was brought about, you know, by the white man onto a native Hawaiian population. That's just a fact. That's just a historical fact. You know, what you want to make of it, you decide. I'm just going to give you a historical fact. So the locals, the local folks, especially the Polynesian folks, the Hawaiian folks, they have not forgotten that. So it's inevitable that this coronavirus connects with this cultural historical fact, this, you know, this wipeout really of thousands of native Hawaiians. So you can't get away from thinking about that during this coronavirus outbreak. So if you flaunt that, if you ignore that, you're not only doing all these other things that I mentioned earlier, but you're reigniting a terrible memory, and you're furthering a narrative of foreign entities, foreigners bringing diseases that are affecting our people. And there's a serious history behind that. That is not what you want to be triggering. And you don't want to be a part of that. You don't want to be a part of that. So that's a really big reason. Finally, number 4. It's going to be the deal of the century when we reopen. Look, this is not going to go on forever. It can't. It cannot go on forever. The state depends on tourism. They're going to have to open. When they're going to open, I don't know. I've been looking carefully. There's been no concrete plans, no dates set. We're just going to have to wait and see. But one thing's for sure. When they do reopen, we're going to want you to come here because we're going to need it. The economy is really struggling. It's going to be in really bad shape. You're going to be needed. I know, you just know that the airlines and the hotels and the whole travel industry is going to be making a really big deal to get you to come back to Hawaii. There's going to be some insane deals. There's going to be some insane offers. Whatever money you were planning and saving up on spending for a vacation in Hawaii is going to go twice as far. So there's another good economic reason to wait. Your dollars are going to go twice as far when this place opens up. So really, in closing, there's really no question. And it's sad to say this, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Don't come to Hawaii right now. It's a bad idea. I've given you 4 good reasons why you don't want to come to Hawaii right now and why you want to wait. Wait for the signal. I'll be posting videos about that, believe me. Wait for the signal. And when it does, then come on. We're going to need you here. Until that time comes, stay home, stay safe, respect our people, respect our wishes, respect our culture, and respect our way of life that we hold so dearly. This is paradise, and it will be paradise for you when you get here. Hawaii has been here the way you see it for over 1 million years. It's going to be here for over 1 million years more. Hawaii will be here when you get here. We're not going anywhere. We're all waiting. We're waiting. We're waiting for this thing to end. We're waiting to return. I don't know if we're ever going to return to normal again, but we're waiting to return to something more normal than what we've got now. We want to open up. We want those restaurants to be open. We want to lay out on the beach. We want some sense of our lives back. We all want that. We're waiting for this to end. And I want you to wait with us, not against us. Wait with us. Wait until this is over. Aloha. I'm Peter K.